What is up, everybody? How's it going?
We're back. Apparently, everyone thinks I went somewhere because everyone's like, "He's back." It's like, guys, I didn't go anywhere. Chat's going crazy today. I love it. It's a good
Heck
way to
yeah,
start the
dude.
podcast. We'll take it.
Because it's a hype week.
It is a hype week. That's why I got my Sith Lord get up, according to Declan, and jump
Yeah,
on
doesn't he
here.
look like
Then it's like,
he looks like a Sith Lord guy with his evil devil goatee, his facial hair, and like the
Darth
red lights and
Garatus.
black shirt? What the heck?
It's filling the darkness today, I guess. That's my headphones are gonna die.
Garrett
I
plays
actually-
one horror game and then freaking
becomes his entire personality. It's not my fault.
Oh man.
I
Well, what's
blame our
up,
guest.
man?
Dude, it's been a good week for us. I'm excited.
Good.
Today is going to be interesting, guys, because we are bringing on the lead Salviar dev. His name is Churchill on the Discord, if you guys know him by that name. But we're going to be talking to him. We're going to talk. You guys are going to get a little bit of a peek behind the scenes, what goes on at Red Team Interactive, what it's like to be a game developer, an actual game developer. I feel like at this point, I don't do much of the game development. This guy that we're going to talk to today, he does most of it. So we're excited to talk to him. And also, if you guys didn't know already, we got a prototype out. One of the games that we've been talking about is out, and it is play testable. And right after the stream, I'm going to be jumping on there. Just not on live stream or thing. I'm going to be jumping in there. I'll be in the lobbies. So if you guys want to check that out, go find the Discord. It's somewhere. You can find it. I believe in you.
I like this comment saying that you're the next sale boss. We should do that.
Put myself in the game.
You got to be the captain of the bad ship, or you could be like in the prison of a ship. That'd be
Captain
funny.
Cook. Oh, that'd be crazy. I'll be
All right.
just have my giant avatar head on there, just zap people out of the sky. I love it.
Well, let's get Churchill on here. Ready?
Everybody, welcome,
Say hi,
Churchill.
everybody.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Face reveal. I just realized I don't
Face reveal.
Uh-oh. Oops, we should have gotten you an avatar or a mask.
Yeah, that's okay.
This is the legendary Churchill from Selviar, guys. So we're gonna be talking with him today. Cam, how's it going, dude?
So good. How are you guys doing?
Pretty
we're
good.
just messing around.
Heck yeah.
Cameron, after this, you'd be like, "This is what Garrett does every day." Wow.
This is what he's doing. Yeah. Well, I'm hard at work working on sale. Garrett's just having fun.
Hey, I'm helping by influencing. That's my job at Red Team at this point. Oh, so Cameron has been alerted that we usually do at the beginning of this podcast a gaming win or loss. So we'll give Cameron a second, but Declan, what do you got? What do you got for us? Gaming wins and losses this week.
Man, I had a hard time finding a loss. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's so many good things I think that are really cool happening right now. My big one, honestly, that is like tiny but should have happened a long time ago, is Marvel Rivals having custom color options for their skins. So you can
Whoa.
go in and customize the skin textures to have different colors. So you can use the same skin as somebody else, but completely change the color scheme. That's crazy. That's seems like such a small thing. And it's crazy that nobody else has done it yet. But they just announced that like 2 days ago or yesterday or something. And like that's gonna be such a big thing for skins in the future. I'm so excited for that.
Cameron, how hard is actually doing that?
The amount of times you ask me how hard something is.
It's like the number one quote to Cameron.
Yeah. Cameron, how hard is it to yeah. I don't know. I feel like Ben could probably do well with something like that because he's better at shaders than I am. So
Yeah, I mean,
Shading, right?
I worked at an agency before, and like I know you can go in and change the base albedo colors of a texture if we're gonna get into the weeds about it, or like a material. And I bet that's like some of what they're doing. In all honesty, they probably have the materials divided up in a way so that they all have like base albedos that you can kind of change for each one. But I know like to break apart the textures in a way so that is easy to do and have everything divided up, you have to be super organized
yeah.
for skins to work that way. So it's pretty impressive, but it just feels like as a user, something that should have happened so long ago. Like, why doesn't League of Legends have that? They have like chromas, but they only have specific versions of things that you can do. But from what I saw in this, you can go up and pick up the entire color scheme and just drag to whatever color combinations you want on a skin, which is pretty dope.
That's cool.
I feel like Marvel Rivals has just been doing so many things right. Just I don't know who's in charge, but I would love to talk to them and figure out what, because they've just done so many things really well. Like the way they've done their battle pass has been like the least controversial battle pass I've ever seen.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of allegations about the gooning side of things with Marvel Rivals, but like at the same time, like they have amazing art style. Like you can't deny
sure.
it's a great looking game. But I've just been really impressed with them this entire what we've been live for 6 months, a year. How close are we here with them?
Well, I think Marvel Rivals has only been live for like 3 or 4 months, right? Start of the year.
Not very long. I don't know. They've just been killing it.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm excited for that. What about you, Garrett? Do you have a win or a loss?
So my loss. Let's start with my loss of the week. My loss of the week has to do with this. This is my microphone. And the reason it is on my desk and not where it's supposed to be, which is not in my hand, is because I was playing Orion Drift so hardcore that I swiped my entire desk and yeeted this thing across the room, snapping. Like, look at this thing. It's fetching snapped. I snapped it clean off the handstand. So broke my microphone. There's my gaming loss. Make better microphones, gaming community, that can be boxed out by us VR players. But now, an actual gaming loss of this week. I don't know if I am just this person with this opinion, but so Marathon got announced. Bungie's new game Marathon.
That's what I was going to talk about. Another extraction shooter.
Another extraction shooter. I don't know. Like extraction, I don't love the game loop because it is such high punishment for such a low reward, which is addicting in its own sense. Because when you do get that good reward out of an extraction game, like that makes up for the other 200 times you lost so bad. But I don't know. There was that whole era where everything was a battle royale game, and now everything's an extraction shooter. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm for that. So that's kind of my loss of this week. Is just I just didn't want it to be another extraction shooter. I was hoping for something original.
It's a different idea, right? So it's class based. So you go in and you pick a character or a class, and like I get like that's an iteration on it with multiple maps is cool, but it's a paid game, which I like that. That's nice.
But is it going to have the player base to support that being a paid game? Like that's my question, because
you know what Tarkov is
free for like getting just the sheer number of players you need to support a team-based like FPS extraction game.
Tarkov is paid though, isn't it? I bought Tarkov.
Tarkov is paid, and also that Ghost of Tabor, which is the really popular one on VR, is also paid. So I don't know. I mean, there's something to like doing paid to try to get a certain demographic for sure, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the launch goes, because I've seen a few people be like, it's dead on the water because it's just not going to have the player base needed. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just another extraction game, but I'll try it. I love the art style. I'm actually obsessed with the art style. I think it's super cool, but just the game loop, I was just kind of like, man.
Yeah. Cameron, do you have any wins or losses for the week?
Well, I mean, a win for the week is just that we got out our Monsters and Mazes prototype. So we've been cooking up a new game, and we finally got our first playable prototype, and it went really well. Garrett knows I was super skeptical of Monsters and Mazes at first. I didn't really get it. Like I don't know. It just seemed kind of like a Gorilla Tag clone. But I was super surprised. I had a ton of fun. And I think there's a lot of potential there. So that was huge this week.
Cool.
My watch, my running watch now thinks I'm a swimmer, because every time I'm playing Monsters and Mazes, I'm like doing this. It's like, wow, you swam for 1 hour today. Like, yep.
So is it open for people to play now? I'm sure we'll get into it, but can people play it?
It's open like through an invite. So if you get on our Discord, you can navigate to like we have a prototyping Discord where we have our game ideas. Yeah. And if you get in there, you can just ask for an invite and we'll send it to you. We have like 100 and something people on there so far.
Yeah. We've got
Chat,
100 people.
Anybody in chat in there?
Should be.
I think
us
there's a
know
couple.
if
I
you
think
guys
I've
are
seen a
playing
few
it.
people that I recognize.
Sick.
I will grab the invite to the Discord and throw it in chat
Oh,
so
perfect.
people can grab it.
Yeah.
but-
toss it in the restream one too.
Yeah.
That way it'll share to everybody.
I will toss it where I can.
No, that's awesome. I'm super excited to see it. I watched the live stream, but I watched it after, so I didn't watch it while it was
Gotcha.
actually live. Looked like a lot of fun. I love the mechanic that somebody is the monster. I think that's a good time. I love seeing like what you guys are
Yeah.
gonna do with that. I also voted on the should people be able to go above the maze thing that you guys are asking right now in Discord. So
Yeah.
when I didn't know that there was somebody controlling the monster, I put no. But now that I know somebody can control the monster, I think that is actually adding another mechanic to the game, which I kind of like a lot more now. So I have to change my vote to yes, you should.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I think at the very least, the monster should be able to get up on top because it just feels so cool.
I don't know if you're going to have like different monster classes, but you should have like if you're going to make it so no, you can't, you should have one monster class that does like a giant spider. So the spider can be
heck
up
yeah.
above everybody else.
Ooh.
There's a free idea for you.
Yeah. The plan is to kind of have like a hub world, and you go to a different map that'll have the Minotaur or the Scarecrow monster or the Spider monster. So
Yeah,
lots
that
of
sounds
room
fun.
for adding in stuff like that.
Cool. Well, I'm
Yeah,
excited
that
to see it.
was my win, I guess, for the week.
Cool.
That took a lot to get that thing out there.
It did take a lot. Yeah, we kept saying
way
like,
more.
oh, just one more day, we're so close. And then like a week would pass, and then just one more day, we're so close.
Hey, we had several of those days where like we started at our normal
Yeah.
time starting, and then it was like 6 p.m. and we're like, holy fetch, it's still not working. Like
Yeah, but it's
joys
like,
of game development, dude.
Heck
we're just
yeah.
gonna jump in for 20 minutes, figure out what's wrong, and then
4 hours
it's-
later.
yeah, 6 p.m. and
I think that's just game or development in general. So
Yeah.
if anybody's getting into that, no matter where you end up as a developer, there'll be days where it'll be 10 p.m. and you're like, oh, fuss. I broke it.
Yep,
No,
just
no,
kind of
that's
how it
awesome.
goes.
That's great.
Yeah. My loss for the week, though, has got to be so. I think it was on Monday. Garrett just messages in the Bugs channel. And he's like, movement in sail isn't straight anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? I spent like a long time trying to figure out what's going on. And now, like, I'm not convinced there's actually a problem. I think it's just like the way you hold the controller, the way you move the joystick makes it feel like you're going off to the side a little bit. But like now I can't play sail normally because I'm always like, am I going straight? Am I actually I don't know if I need to fix something or if it's just like
Okay.
like it's a virus in my mind. Like I can't.
I think Cameron, actually, like funny thing enough, like I last night played 6 different games with our same movement system, trying to figure out am I crazy or not, right?
Yeah.
And I think you might be right. It's just a VR thing.
I knew it.
But I will say that there are some games that have figured it out better than others. Like
Yeah.
there's one system I want you to try where I feel like they kind of instead of like ours is very much like the direction you go is exactly the direction you go.
Mhm.
Whereas I've seen some other games where they make it so that it's like if you're generally pushing the forward direction, you go forward, and
Yeah.
then they kind of keep to like the 4 cardinal directions instead of allowing for like strafing and stuff like that.
Interesting.
But the reason I've been going through kind of why I figured out that this doesn't work, and it's because I've been playing Gorilla Tag games. Like in Gorilla Tag games, going forward is so easy because you hit the ground and it puts you straight forward. And then jumping back into the locomotion that we have in Sail, I've realized like that's not straight. Like that's not actually the direction I wanted to go. And it's been driving me crazy. But no, it's
Yeah.
not something unique to our own game. And I am curious if it might be my controllers. I've tried switching out to a different one. Well, I'm gonna try switching it out and see if it might be a controller stick drift thing. But yeah, I can't play games the same anymore either. So
That's funny.
we're losing our minds over here.
Yeah.
Freaking
Yeah,
Gorilla
I was
Tag.
fine. I was fine until you said that, and now I'm like, wait.
Because like it doesn't quite go where you would expect straight to go. Am I wrong? Like
No, you're totally right. Like it is weird if you start paying attention to it. But I think it's just it has to do with like the direction your head is facing, the direction you're holding your controller, and what way you feel like straight should be while you're holding the controller is just not always exactly what straight is. And so it's like, oh, I'm going to the left, when really it's like, no, your controller's just sideways and you're looking this way a little bit. It's just really weird. But I think you're right. If we add just like a dead zone where like if you get close to forwards, you're just going to go straight forwards, that might help a lot. So
you guys just broke the rest of the people in
we
chat.
Just broke
yeah, we just
in chat. Everyone's like, oh no, I can't play this game anymore.
Gotta stop talking about it. Yeah.
No, it is. I'm kind of realizing it's a bigger problem with VR, and it actually might be one of the reasons why, like, maybe people are getting motion sick even, because it's like you're expecting to like go forward, but you're going at like slightly. For me, it's slightly northwest. Like I'm always going like slightly, like straight, but a little to the left. So anyway, that's we broke VR. So sorry everyone. Anyway, let's start talking to Cameron about kind of your game development story, like how you got into it. I would love to hear like what initially got you into like coding, game development, because you weren't always a coder, right?
No, yeah, I'm kind of weird in that way. Like a lot of people that get into game dev, I feel like they want to do it for like a long time. It's like their dream to become a game dev, and like I knew what I wanted to do as a kid. Like at first, I had no idea what I wanted to study. I had never done any coding until like my third year in college. I'd never touched code, which is kind of crazy. Like most people that do coding tend to do it like in high school because they're just like drawn to that sort of thing. And I think I would have if I had tried it because I found out I really enjoy it. But I just never tried it. I just never knew that it was a thing. That was fun.
Really quick, Garrett, when did you start programming? Was it in college?
Yeah, I had never touched a computer either until I got back from living in Bolivia. So that would have been circa 2017.
Yeah,
2017 is when I first touched code.
I was studying engineering my first year of college, and then my second and third year I was studying like exercise and science, and then found coding. So
oh wow, okay.
It's crazy. I think all of us are like third or fourth year college programmers, which is hilarious.
Which just goes to prove anyone can do it. Like seriously, you guys in the chat who think you can't learn to code, you're wrong. Rick.
Yes, do it.
Anyway, so what was your initial exposure
to
coding then? Like what was the first thing you actually did?
Like in college or like, I mean, I did certain things as a kid, like Little Big Planet I loved, which is a game you could make your own levels, and it got pretty like in depth. Like it was almost like programming where you had to like design all the different components and like how the spaceship was going to move, and you'd make your own enemies, and it was super fun. But it never really clicked that's like, oh, I should be a game developer. It's just like, oh yeah, I love making levels in Little Big Planet. And I would do things like the junior high I went to gave everyone iPads. I don't know why they did that. It was not a good idea.
Oh, that's sick.
But we all just had iPads all day. And all I would do was I would take like the programs that we had on there, which weren't very many, and I would try to make like games with them. Like, so I'd use Keynote or like a PowerPoint, and I'd make different slideshows that had different interactable buttons and objects, and
that's crazy.
I'd make people play it because I thought it was so fun. And I'd make little animations with like the Flipbook program, and I'd put them in, and it'd be like a game. Like I even made like a Slender Man clone, but it was just like a PowerPoint where you had to click like which direction you were going to go, and it would like move you to different areas.
Whoa.
But it wasn't
That's
programming.
awesome.
It was just like me being super bored as a kid. So
I think that's just because programming is a lot of creativity in the way that you solve problems, and like that just kind of shows like the logic way that you were thinking about things early on. That's really cool. I've never heard of anybody kind of working that way before, but I mean, it makes a lot of sense that like that's what you were drawn to. So that's really cool.
Yeah. I was surprised when I started programming. Like I thought computer programming would be much more just like mathematical and algorithms. And there's definitely that side of it, but there's also just a lot of creativity involved where you have to really like solve problems in a way that no one has solved them before. And I was pleasantly surprised to learn that station and like typing out code. But
Heck
It's a lot
yeah.
of problem
I
solving,
think
which I really like.
it's definitely more just finding the right answer, just in case
Yeah,
other people are listening that want to know. Like, you don't have to memorize an entire programming language. I guarantee I use tools more than I write code myself. Like, figuring out where to find the right answer is just as powerful as it is as knowing the right answer. So
totally. Yeah. But yeah, I started college as a film major, actually. I wanted to make movies, but quickly found out that I was not a film student. Like, I don't know. I just didn't fit in. And like, I remember someone asked me, they were like, what's your top 10 Steven Spielberg movies? And I'm like, I can't even think of one. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just so not a film person. I think I was just drawn to it because it was like making something that was cool and I wanted to make cool stuff. So
that's awesome.
Didn't last as a film major. I switched to acting for a second because I like acting. I do like community theater on the side and it's been fun. But I also wanted a job. So I was like, probably not acting. I had a friend in the semester, which I found out it was not really my thing, but I liked the computer science class that I had to take. So I was like, oh, this was actually fun. I didn't like the circuit board class I had to take, but I liked the programming class. So, and then I kind of switched to CS on accident because I went to go talk to the counselor. I'm like, just to see like what it would take to switch to computer science. So I just told them like, here's what I've done. I just want to know like what it would take to switch it. And they like walked me through it. And then as I was leaving, the secretary was like, okay, we just switched your miss. And I'm like, okay. Like, whatever.
Just went with it.
So that's how I became a CS major.
That's awesome.
Nice.
But
So
then,
how'd you meet Garrett?
Yeah, good question. So the program I did made you do a capstone project. And the capstone that sounded the most interesting to me was the game project. But you had to get an emphasis. So I had to apply for the animation emphasis in computer science. So I did that. And then I started working on the game. And I really loved it. Like I would just work on it all the time. Worked on it for like a full year. And it was kind of like a team of like 30 students working on it. And I ended up being the game, what was I? The game design lead was my title. So I was in charge of like the actual game side of things. And it was super fun. And one of the students that was working on the capstone got a job at a company that Garrett was working with called Continuum. And then Garrett was looking for someone. That student recommended me to Garrett, and that's how we met. And I started as an intern. I would just work like 20 hours a week on Sail single player. And after I graduated, I just started working full time, and we started on the multiplayer version of Sail. So
that's awesome. Was that Jordan that you met?
Yeah,
Jordan. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's funny, you both are kind of head developers now on different VR.
Oh yeah.
Him being Monkey Do, right?
Jordan's head of Monkey Do over at Continuum. That's right.
Or whatever Continuum's making nowadays.
The funny thing is like when I first met Cameron, you know, I was just like, I'm just gonna try this out because where I was at in like my story of Sail VR is we had released single player and I was back to being a solo dev, but it had done well enough getting like copies sold that I was like, okay, I don't have to be a solo dev anymore. It'd be nice if I could find someone like on the side. So I talked to Jordan, and Jordan recommended Cameron. And I put Cameron just on the side, and I kind of gave him a few things that I was actually working on at the time. I was just kind of trying to see, like, oh, can Cameron code as well as I can? Little did I know, Cameron could out-code me to the moon and back. And so very, very quickly I realized, okay, like Cameron has to be on the team because he can do way more than I have ever been capable of. So like Cameron definitely like showed what he was worth so quickly as an intern, which was incredible, and created stuff like, yeah. And then we worked together all through 2023 to create Sail multiplayer. Like, and he pretty much everything that's in Sail right now, guys, Cameron has touched. And
I have touched it, yeah.
You can thank Cameron pretty much for
broken it at least once and had to fix it.
I think that's something that Garrett and I both learned early on was neither one of us are really like the best developers, so we try and surround ourselves with developers that are better than us. because it's not like the highest criteria. But if you want to make good stuff, you got to find the right people. And I think, having people like Cameron help out with projects is super crucial. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, so Cameron, I got a question for you. Now that you've worked as a game developer for it's almost 2 years full time, right?
Yeah,
crazy.
2 years full time. Yeah.
Is there any misconceptions about game development that like you've had just totally broken, or like things that you were expecting out of game development that weren't true? Like what was your expectation of game development compared to the reality now that you've worked in it for 2 years?
That's a good question. I think like I definitely have learned that like anything is possible if you spend enough time working on it. Like at first I was definitely more like, oh, we can't do that. Like that's impossible for the size of our team, for the computational power of the Quest 2. Like we can't do that. But like I've realized you basically can do anything if you spend enough time trying to figure it out, which has been really, really cool to see. Like you're not really limited by anything except for your own capabilities as a developer. And I mean, there are some limitations obviously, but just like letting go of the idea that you just like can't put something in. Like I remember we wanted to add like merchants to the ships way back in Sail single player. And it was like, yeah, you can't use nav meshes on a moving platform in Unity. And I went online, it's like, yeah, you can't use this. But there is a way if you just figure it out and you just like try different things and you can force it to work, which is really cool. Like I like feeling like there aren't really any hard limitations to what you can do.
That's funny. Sounds like you said, Garrett, it's not possible, and he said, figure it out.
No, that's actually
okay.
How it goes. Like, so one of my favorite moments with Cameron in the last like year is like we were thinking that a day-night cycle in Sail VR just wasn't going to be possible.
Yeah.
I had a couple of ideas for it, and then Cameron started tweaking around with some stuff in hard drive, and all of a sudden he was like, "Wait a second, give me a day. Give me a day." I was like, "Okay, like go for it." The next day, he's got a fully functioning day-night cycle with like awesome. Active shadows and stuff working in Sail VR. He's like, I figured it out. I'm like, what? Like this is the kind of stuff that Cameron comes up with all the time. Like he's got a couple secret projects he's working on right now that are just like,
won't spoil anything.
No spoilers. But that's just how Cameron works. Like going back to like the merchant stuff, I remember telling Cameron, because we were thinking about it, we're like, oh, you can't use navigation meshes on a moving platform. And I was like, well, what if the platform wasn't moving? It was like, well, it's a moving ship. How are we going to do that? And I was like, well, what if we did the calculations on a non-moving platform and figured out where everything was supposed to go and just artistically represent it on the moving platform? And then Cameron was just kind of like, huh. And he actually figured it out, right? Like I just had the kind of general idea, but he's the one that actually like
that's
went
awesome.
and figured it out. But yeah, that's just the kind of intelligence that Cameron has. Can't praise him enough.
Well, it was your idea. Yeah, I just had to make it happen.
That's one of the things I think I miss the most, like being self-employed, is like working with a team. Because you're right, it takes the person to come up with the idea, and then the other person typically is the person that can figure it out. And like finding somebody that you mesh well with when it comes to either the ideation and the creation, or like being able to pass ideas back and forth is super important when you're making projects. So it's really cool that you guys have been able to figure that out kind of and play to each other's strengths.
We definitely have the coolest team at Red Team.
Yeah, we all kind of balance each other out in different ways. Like Garrett has all the crazy ideas. I have the crazy ideas of like how to make it work. Ben has to keep me in check because the way I'm trying to do it is just too weird. And Ben is like the good programmer that's trying to keep everything like, well organized.
He's the polished guy. He's the polished guy.
We're already getting in chat the where's Ben? So
can't go day without Ben. And then Maya, I feel like, is the peacekeeper among us all. She's like, okay, I can see everybody's side of things. We love Maya. And then Matt is kind of another hype guy, and that's the problem. He's kind of like our new guy, Matt, who's doing the majority of the work on Monsters and Mazes. He is kind of like we can do this. We can figure it out. We love him.
But like he does though. Like he'll just be like, yeah, I just spent all day and I just added this. And you're like, oh, cool. Like
that's awesome.
If you would ask me if you could add this, I'd be like, no, like scope, like we can't do it. But since you've already done it like last night, that's awesome. Like
That's cool.
We'll take
yeah,
it.
he's been great. Oh, hey, he's in the chat. What's up,
Hey, T Sundown. Love being a problem. That's awesome. All right. I got a funny question for you, Cameron. I've always wanted to ask this. What is the weirdest bug you've ever had to fix in game development?
The weirdest bug. I know there's been some really weird ones. There was one when we were using auto hands way back in the day, in the early days of Sail. It's just like a package for like grabbing and moving stuff in VR. We ended up not using it, but you'd like be on the ship and you just like start like moving around in like a circle like this. And for like a week, we had no idea what was going on. And like, I watched a video about like the orbits of planets being different depending on like what reference you're on. So it would show like, oh, from the moon's point of view, this is what the Earth's orbit looks like. And it does like all these weird loops. And it's like, if you were standing on this planet, this is what the sun looks like and what Earth looks like. And they do these weird loops. And I was like, wait a second. I think that's what our player is doing on the ship. Like, I don't remember the specifics, but it was like based off of what it was parented to and like how it was calculating where it should be. It was doing this weird like procession of where it was thinking that it was in local space. So we figured it out. And then like we got rid of auto hands like a week after that because it was just causing so many problems. Yeah.
That's funny.
But that was super weird. Also the giant fish. I still have nightmares about the giant fish in Sail. That was so bad.
Those of you who don't know what the giant fish is, you just had to be there for it. Like, there's no other way to describe it. Giant fish was giant fish.
Basically, it's like if you took a fish out of your chest and you gave it to someone else, every time it would grow just a little bit bigger. And there was no limit to that. So
that's hilarious.
Our players took that as far as they could. And my gosh, I've never seen bigger fish in my life.
That is funny.
And the value of a fish depends on how big it is. So
they're also increasing the value of the fish that they got.
That's
totally
cool.
ruined our economy. For
Smart players.
Yep.
You ruined the economy.
It's crazy how quickly players will like find bugs and also like how far they will push them if they know what the bug is.
Oh yeah.
It's just like, oh man.
That's fun. So did you enjoy single player Sail?
Yeah, totally. Like as a game, or do you mean like working on it?
No, as a game. Like what did you think of that? Because that was like an interesting era in Sail, I feel like when Continuum started working on it and like the way that it ended up going versus where the direction of the game was when it started.
Yeah.
It was just a completely different idea and concept for the game. And I know like some people on here every once in a while jump in and say that they miss single player Sail and that they wish there was a way to bring it back, but like, did you enjoy it? Did you like that era of Sail?
There's definitely things I liked about it. The first time I played it, I remember I didn't know how to pull down the sails, so I was just like super slow. I'm like, wow, this is like a slow game, like because my ship was just moving at 1 mile an hour. But then I figured out how to move the sails and it got more fun. I think it just doesn't have replayability. Like I feel like you kind of do everything there is to do in Sail single player and you're kind of done. And it takes you like a few hours if you know what you're doing. So I think like as an experience, it's great, but I just don't think there's good reasons to keep coming back to it. Yeah.
I remembered having that conversation like during the development of it. And it's like, so like this, what do you do now? It's like, well, we're going to add in like all this stuff. And it's like, but come on, like, is that really a gameplay loop that you're expecting people to come back to? It just didn't make sense. So I definitely agree. I feel like the way Sail is now is just so much more replayable and fun. So
yeah.
It was interesting with like the beginning of Sail because I was extremely limited in scope because I had contracted out a company to help me, you know? And because of that contract, like we definitely had to be like, okay, like this is the end point. This is where we can get to. And I felt like as soon as that contract was up, like Continuum, I had nothing against Continuum. They did a great job. I'm really proud of like what we put out there. But I definitely took the game after the fact and went way above and beyond like anything that could have possibly been done.
For sure.
And it was because like suddenly the limitations that I'd had previously were gone. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, I want to make this game back into what I want it to be. It's
Well-
turned into tons of stuff.
I think when you handed it over, you lost a little bit of control in like the design aspects of it too, right? Like that's kind of the problem with taking the project on yourself or handing it off to somebody else to build it. I know there were a lot of like discrepancies in the game design idea, and at one point I remember Sail being pitched as maybe like a roguelike where you go and collect stuff and then come back and die and then have a little bit more and go to the same island over and over and over again and unlock different parts of it. Like that was just one iteration. And I knew like you weren't super jazzed about any of those ideas because being around you early on in the project, you wanted it to be open world and like completely more similar to Sea of Thieves. So that was just completely different than what you were envisioning. So it's cool to see it maybe get a little bit derailed, but like continue to progress in a way and then be brought back on. And now where it's at now, it's a really cool like story, and it'd be really fun to see kind of the whole story laid out and like where it started, where it went, and then where it is now. Would probably be a good YouTube video. So maybe Garrett, you have to fund a Sail documentary.
Yes.
Sail documentary going through the history of Sail. No, I think Cameron more than anyone could attest that like I never run out of ideas for Sail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not our problem. Is running out of ideas.
we can keep like I know a lot of people are kind of nervous because we've started working on a couple of other games. Everyone's been like, "Oh, what's gonna happen to Sail?" Like, trust me, Sail's not going anywhere. Like we got stuff for it. We got big plans for it. It's gonna stay relevant for a while. But like we're developers at heart, so like we want to work on new stuff. We want to get stuff out there, and so like we're having fun with it. But yeah, no, it's fun to work on a team with someone like Cameron, who it's like I can come up with these crazy ideas, and I know my team can make them happen, which is
That's
just
awesome.
the coolest part of it. It's like Cameron. Right now, we're working on a really big update that you guys are gonna be super excited about. With like merchants and the Kraken, like we got a lot of cool stuff coming in this next update. But I'm already planning out the next update, and I've kind of said little bits and things to Cameron, and he's just been like, "Oh no."
So are all of the 3 prototype games going to be mini games inside of Sail? No, just kidding.
I actually
Whoa.
proposed that as an idea.
The Monsters and Mages mini dungeon that you can go into. And...
Yeah. Yeah, you did propose that as an idea, and I was just like, no. Like, we're not doing that.
What do you feel like, Cameron, like working for Red Team, what do you feel like is one of the harder things about it? Like what would you be your complaint about game development?
We definitely go really fast, which is good and bad. Like it's super fun to like just get out a ton of stuff with a small team really quickly. But then sometimes it's like, I want to just like spend a week working on the Cannoneer and just like make him really, really polished. And I feel like we've gotten a lot better at that. Like the first year of Sail multiplayer, we were just like, go, 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 go. And it was like kind of crazy how much we were putting out. So it was a little bit hard just to like feel like I couldn't go back and like fix and polish as much as I wanted. So that's been a challenge, but we've been doing a lot better at that recently, and we're focusing more on polish and more on fixing things. So it's been good.
If you had all the budget in the world and all the time, what game would you make?
There you go.
That is a good question. Does it have to be VR or can it be any?
No, anything.
Whatever you want, man.
What would it be?
I really I want to make like a true exploration type game where you get to build your own vehicles. This is actually an idea me and Ben were talking about at GDC, where it's like you just have like I'm back. Sorry, I cut out for a second. But we were just talking about like we want like a vast, like explorable world with just like lots of cool stuff to find. But the only way to get there is by building different types of vehicles. So Like some of it's going to be floating up in the sky and you have to build like an airplane or a spaceship or a hot air balloon. And then maybe there's a giant ocean and you have to build a submarine to explore the ocean. And maybe there's caves and you have to build a rover to explore the caves. And just like being able to put pieces of a vehicle together, kind of like Bad Piggies, the 2D mobile game where you're building little vehicles.
Oh,
But it'd be that, but in 3D, and you get to kind of design your own crafts to try to navigate around a really expansive world. So it's not like a fully fleshed out game idea, but something like that I think would be what I'd want to do.
Cool. Yeah, Taxolotl said Tears of the Kingdom reference. That's exactly what I was thinking about when you started mentioning it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I could see that being popular in VR, like even if it's not VR, I guess popular in 3D, just like people love exploration games. To me, the hard part would be figuring out how to fill the world, because that's always the hardest part. Like the mechanics, but in big games like that, you have to figure out how to just fill. I remember when the newest like 3D generations of Pokemon came out. That was something that people complained about a ton, was like you just go to different areas of the world and there's just nothing there. And it just kind of felt like, what is the purpose of exploring if there's nothing to find? So,
but it's actually been one of our struggles in Sail VR is like filling the world in. So that there's tons of stuff to do. And I seriously have so much respect for like the teams behind Tears of the Kingdom, because like there's never nothing to do in that game. And the amount of like time and effort that would have taken to like get. And that, granted, those are like 1,000 people studios, right? That can like have that manpower, but still amazing to see like what is capable in game development for sure.
100%.
Oh, that's cool. You got my mind spinning, Cameron, so that's great.
Uh-oh. Yeah. We just put up a whole list of game ideas while we were like taking the train to GDC every day. So
I feel like I missed out on that part of things. Like it's been so fun to just like sit there. Because a few of the game ideas that you guys have talked to me about, we kind of like messed around with, and like they're good. There's some good things that came out of those train rides. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I go.
It was fun. It was a good time. But yeah, I feel like in order to do true exploration, we'd need a pretty decent team size, just because you need so many assets to populate a world. It's just tricky.
Well, and I've learned the importance of a good level designer, like having somebody who that is their job to sit down and think about not only like where everything's going to be, but even just thinking about like when somebody walks into a space for the first time, what are the things that they're presented with? And a lot of that I'm learning right now in a different way, because like tabletop role-playing games, as a DM, that's your job, is to like verbally tell people what they see. So like they walk into a room and I say, hey, there's a door, and give them all the necessary information and visuals. But like doing that in a 3D sense, and even in like a VR setting, is even harder, because you have to know how people's vision is going to be. You can't like control where they're looking, but you have to kind of give the right visual cues and layout so that you can command their attention in a specific direction. So a lot of stuff to think about, but that's definitely exploration games. I feel like there's definitely some in VR, but there need to be more, like just true exploration and like dinking around and having fun,
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's like No Man's Sky, which is cool, but I feel like I've played No Man's Sky, and it's tricky to like, I don't know, with the procedural worlds.
Yeah.
They kind of lose a bit of magic because there's no design to them. There's no, it's just like whatever the computer happened to spit out, which it's still a really cool game. Like I really like it, but having a world that you actually design that's really big and explorable would be even cooler than that, I think.
Yeah.
We got a really good question in the chat, Cameron, that I think would be good for you to answer. And so Cheese Pizza Panda is saying, I want to get into game development, but I don't know where to start. Like, what's a good game engine or coding language? Like, what would your recommendation be if someone wanted to get into game development? What would you tell them?
I mean, instead of trying to choose a coding language or a game engine, is the game you want to make first. So something with a small scope, so something really simple, but still that inspires you, that is going to be fun. Be like, okay, I want to make a 2D mobile game that does this and this. Maybe do Unity. Or I want to make a 3D game where you're like running through, I don't know, a building with a gun. use Unreal Engine because that's what it's for. So I would start with the game you want to make and then choose the engine based off of that. And then the coding language is just going to be whatever the engine is using. I will say if you're intimidated by code, Unreal Engine has really, really great visual scripting. And if you just want to get your feet wet, Unreal Engine is totally free, and you can do pretty much anything you could do with code with little nodes and little arrows. And it kind of helps teach you how to think like a programmer without actually being coding. So if that sounds appealing, that's actually how I started. I started with just visual scripting in Unreal Engine, and it was great. And it was pretty easy to transition to C# after that. So
I would like to add as well, like, people talk about Scratch a lot. I think Scratch is an awesome tool. It might be something that, you think of little kids using. That's how a lot of younger people learn how to code. But you can actually I've seen people make full 3D games inside of Scratch, and it's a 2D engine, which if you think about it, there's no 3D rendering. So they're making 2D planes, and it's creating 3D graph. Like, it's crazy. So you can do a lot in there. And if Unreal, like for me, Unreal Engine is super intimidating. I don't know why, but every time I jump into Unreal, it intimidates me. So like Scratch is just even more. If you're just intimidated about everything about it, and like Unreal Engine kind of looks scary when you jump into it for the first time, like Scratch is just even more simplified, and you can start with the nodes, and then if that's just all 2D, and then you can jump into something like Unreal and learn like a real full game development platform. And I definitely like that recommendation though. So node-based programming is underrated, but like once you get more into wanting to control everything, then you'll want to jump into code. So
yeah, I definitely feel like that's the case. Well, we are coming up on our usual hour mark. Chat, if you guys have any more questions you want to ask Churchill, please drop them in the chat. We are looking at them. I have one more kind of funny one we could talk about for a second. But what was something in Sail that everyone thinks was super planned, but was actually just like a last minute hacky thing we did?
I feel like that's like the whole game.
The truth comes out. Eh? No, it's true though.
I remember April Fool's last year, where this was a complete accident. There's like a daily challenge where you have to collect certain treasure items, and we put the pink crab in the daily challenge.
Which is one of the rarest
which
items.
Is like super rare. And you'd be like, haha, April Fools, we'll put in the super rare pink crab. Little did we know, the pink crab was scaled up by a factor of 100. And so when we put it in the shop or in the little daily challenge, it was trying to display the little mesh of the pink crab, but it was 100 times bigger. And so everyone just logged into the ports, and there was just this massive crab, like the size of a mountain. And we didn't know what it was. We were like, why is there a giant pink crab? But then we're like, wait, it's April Fool's. Let's just run with it. And then Garrett made a post. He's like, yeah, we decided to spawn a giant pink crab in the port for April
That's
Fool's.
hilarious.
Like, that was definitely intentional.
Oh, that we were so lucky that happened like around April 1st because we were just like, gotcha, April Fools.
Yeah, and it's good we never put
awesome.
like, if we ever put even the regular crab into the daily challenge, it would have done the same thing, but we just never did.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
just so
lucky.
funny.
Yeah,
that's the definition of it's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
No, and then this year for April Fools, like we did it again. Like we put a giant shark in the port or something, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
like now it's tradition.
But that time it was intentional. That was like
exactly. No, like this time it's intentional, but it's just funny. Like I love those stories in like game development. It's like, oh yeah, we just put it in there. Oh,
trying to think if there are other things like that, but yeah.
Churchill's a new boss in the works, according to Charlie FMS. All bugs are features if it's loved enough. Ain't that the truth?
I think we still have that bug where if you like grab a fish super, super fast and then release it, it flies away.
Yep. Someone in chat actually was asking for a tutorial because it's so funny. It's just like lore at this point.
Yeah.
For me, it's just lore.
And it doesn't affect anything, so it's like whatever. Let the fish fly away.
One more question, like looking forward both on like sale and game development, like what are you like looking forward to? Are any of the consoles that are coming up, like are you excited about any of that stuff? Like is there anything like with the team that we're doing right now that you're excited about? Like what are you most excited about when it comes to game development right now?
I'm excited. I'm excited to get Sail finished. I'm excited to because I feel like it's been in a state of like really cool but not finished for a
Constantly
long
changing.
time. And so like our plan is to come out of early access and to like, have it be done. And I'm really excited just to like have a finished game that we're all proud of and to be able to like add stuff in when we want and not just like when we have to try to finish the game. So I'm super excited about that. And then I'm super excited about starting another projects. So we've got some ideas. We've got that prototype that just came out. I love the first bit of making a game, like setting up all of the mechanics and playtesting and iterating. I think it's super fun. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, no, that will be super exciting. Somebody's asking in chat, Churchill, will whirlpools be possible?
They're possible, that's for sure.
Like you said,
are we going to do them?
Possible.
Not sure, but anything's possible. Yeah.
Got a couple more questions in chat for you. Are the merchants going to be on only sloops? I personally think the sloops are too small to fight NPCs on.
Nope. In fact, if you're on the Patreon channel, we're gonna start having you playtest it in like a day or two. So you'll see they're not only on sloops. We've got a whole fleet of NPC ships. We're super excited about it.
We tested it internally, guys, and it's one of the funnest things we've created in a while. Like I'm super excited about it. Like we jumped in there as the team. It was me, Ben, Cameron, and Maya. We jumped in, and holy crap, was it a good time trying to take over those merchant ships. We're super excited about it.
They're kind of hard. They're actually a bit of a challenge, which I think we like. Something to challenge our hardcore players a little bit.
We made it hard, guys. It's not going to be an easy raid like we've done in the past. These will test you. These will test you.
At least until someone figures out how to get upside down and stab them through the deck or something and just breaks the whole thing.
Oh, that's awesome. But well, sweet, man. Well, chat, any last questions for Cameron before we go move on to our game recommendations? Please let us know. You got anything else, Declan?
No, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I love hearing like people's stories on how they get into writing code and like some of the fun stuff they're working on. So thanks for coming on and joining us today.
Everyone in the chat should be thanking Cameron for making Sail possible, because without him, it really would not be floating the way it is. So,
yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been fun.
Yeah.
We got a question. How does Cameron get his hair so good? That's my question.
I just woke up this way.
Natural curliness.
No, you just got to get the right like curly hair shampoo, curly hair conditioner, little curly hair cream. Rub that in.
You gotta be a top tier actor like Cameron and get all those products from all those actor things he does.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, sometimes they're like teach you how to do your hair, because you'll come and you'll do your hair and they'll be like, yeah, that's not going to cut it, and they'll like show you how to do it. So
the other thing we didn't talk about is Cameron is actually an extremely talented actor. He said he does a little bit of community theater on side, but also he's a really talented musician. All of the songs that are the sea shanties in Sail VR, that's Cameron.
Oh,
like,
awesome.
That is 100% him on his instruments making that happen. So, sea shanty Cameron also. Is there a coding or teaching website I could use? YouTube. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I learned so much from YouTube. I really did. It's super helpful when you're first starting to just follow an entire like start to finish game tutorial. You'll just learn so much stuff doing that. So would recommend that.
Cameron, do you have some personal games that you've published as well, right? Don't you have a game on the App Store?
Yeah, well, it's on the Android store. It's not on Apple because it costs too much to put it on. Yeah, on Google Play. It's called Cloud Kingdom with a K.
Cloud Kingdom.
You're a little eyeball trying to put out fires for a bunch of little ghost people. So it's kind of wacky. But that's what I did for my senior project at university.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, so is that the game that you worked on with the school? really fast?
No, so the game I worked on for the school, it's called Liminis. It's on Steam.
It won a lot of awards.
It won some awards, yeah. I'm not super happy with it. I wish I could go back through and like fix it. But yeah, that's a game you're like playing as a shepherd that's trying to lead sheeps away from wolves that are trying to eat them. And you're like in the afterlife kind of, so they're like soul sheeps and you're like the leader of souls. Kind of a cool idea.
Liminus?
Liminis, yeah.
Liminus.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah,
The Silent Guard?
that's the one.
Cool.
But that's the one I did in a team. There were like 30 of us working on that. So
I worked with a couple people that worked on the gaming stuff. And one of them was working on Knockback and the other one worked on Beatboxers. So
yeah, Knockback is one of my favorites that they did there. It's just really
Knockback
fun.
is so fun. Like
Yeah.
that's actually a really fun game to just play. Like that is just a solid game loop.
if anybody in
God.
chat has 2 to 3 friends, or I guess 2 to 7 friends that they want to play with, Knockback is free on Steam.
Spelled N-O-K, right? Isn't it spelled weird? It's like N-O-K.
BAK.
Yeah.
NOKBAK. You're like little Triceratops.
Knockback.
It's like Smash Bros, where you're trying to knock each other off the platform.
Out of the.
But it's in 3D. Yeah.
Super
we
fun.
That would be a fun stream to go through and just play a bunch of these because a lot of them are multiplayer.
Who's the producer on all these? Is it always the
Says-
same one?
BYU Center for Animation.
It's a student that's the producer every time. There's a student director and a student producer.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Knockback. That's crazy.
Yeah, you can go find their page on Steam, and there's like 8 games
Oh,
that are
wow.
on there for free.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out the BYU Center for Animation, there's a bunch of free games because Avasti. What is Avasti? A swashbuckling action adventure miniature world?
But you're an ant. You're a pirate, but you're an ant.
What?
That
That's sick.
was the one right before mine, I think.
Whoa. I love playing random pirate games because it gives me so many good ideas for sale. Because like people come up with like kind of funny little quirks about piracy that they want to like see like in a game, and sometimes they build a whole game around it. Like I've been looking into trading a lot lately, like the different trading games, like merchant games and stuff. Some cool stuff there. Cameron's like, oh no. Oh no.
Well, it says on here that you can't jump on this game, so it might not be the best.
I know. No jumping.
No
It's
jump
a
on what?
old school platformer, and you can't jump. That's what some of the reviews say. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, there were some. I wish I had more control over that game. There were some weird decisions, and like I'm not super happy with how it turned out. I'm thrilled that we won awards, but I wish I could start over and like keep all of the same art because the art looks really good, but then just change how the game works. So
It does look really cool.
yeah.
Sweet.
Yep.
Wow. Should we get on? I mean, I feel like that could be one of our. Is that going to be your game recommendation,
Yeah.
then, Declan? Knockback?
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, yeah, sure. The 2 that I have then are like small. Knockback is one. The other one I have, I'll share it really fast. I met a guy this week that I went to lunch with him. He's a really cool guy that lives in the area where I'm at, and he's like an IT guy, just kind of works, but he has a small gaming studio just for fun on the side. So him, one of his friends, and then a couple of people that they hired that are out of the country, just work on little video games for fun. And they just released their first one called Bricks Over Blocks. It's on Steam. I think it's, let's see,
$4.99.
it's $5 right now. Yeah. And it's basically like Brick Breaker, but you're controlling the paddle, and it's like a platformer where you're the little paddle guy and you're jumping around, and there's tons of power-ups, and you're like fighting enemies, but you're also controlling the little paddle thing. I don't know. It's super
Oh, that's
interesting. It's a
interesting.
cool twist on Brick Breaker. And I talked to him a lot about it, and they have some fun ideas for the game coming up. It's just in early access right now, so I would definitely recommend checking that out. Bricks Over Blocks.
Bricks Over Blocks.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
I'll
that's a good
pull it
one.
up on here real fast.
That's a
I
good
love
one.
supporting like small little studios, and this is definitely one that people have never heard of before. So
Brick Silver Blocks. No, that's good. I feel like that's a big thing right now in the game dev world, is just like mixing genres. So you take
yeah,
something like, this is a perfect example, taking Brick Breaker and mixing it with platforming. Like that's such
yeah.
a unique mix, and that's awesome.
That is
So
cool.
it's a fun one. But
Ah,
yeah, those are my two then. Knockback and this one.
okay. All right. What you got, Cameron? What would you recommend people try?
My game on Google Play, of course, Cloud Kingdom. But also, I just played Cuphead, and it was
Oh,
amazing.
Ooh.
I loved it.
oh my gosh, that
Um,
is a amazing
It is just so good.
recommendation.
It's like a masterclass in difficulty. Like the difficulty in that game, it's hard. It has a reputation of being like really hard, but it's like perfect. It's like every time you beat a boss, it just feels so rewarding, but it's never too frustrating. I don't
Yeah.
know how they dialed it in so well, but I just loved it. And the
Well,
art style is just so cool. So
yeah, everything is hand animated.
yeah.
Every single possible frame that could be made in that game was hand animated, and it's hilarious because there are errors. Have you ever gone and seen the errors inside of Cuphead
Uh-uh.
for some of the animation frames? There's some where the character's like twice as big as it should be. He's like sitting on different platforms and he's like completely misshapen, and it just goes to show like the hand animated nature of the whole game. So it's really cool. One of the most amazing games. And I'm glad that they got the bag when they got purchased by Microsoft. So
Oh, I didn't know
it's
they got purchased by
or
Microsoft.
I'm pretty sure they got at least commissioned by Microsoft. I know that they didn't
Huh.
they were paid by somebody to make it, but now it has a Netflix TV show too.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. I have seen clips from it and it looks really funny. So
Cuphead is a good one. So unique. I can't even imagine like what that would have taken animation wise. Like that's
yeah,
just
years.
Yeah.
years. But yeah, so good, so good. My recommendations. So I played GTA 5 for the first time this last week.
I was gonna ask you about that.
That game, I okay. So it kind of did two things for me, right? So I played it. I played it on stream. It was a lot of fun. I had a really good time. But it was also like super intimidating. Like I do not know what I would have done had chat not like walked me through what I was supposed to do. Like they have a horrible onboarding process. I was
Huh.
actually kind of disappointed in that. But because chat told me like, hey, here's some easy ways you can like get started in the game, and like here's how you can get a free plane, and like the chat just had all these like awesome little things for me. It would like turn into like way more fun. But again, going back to like what we were saying about open world games with like filling it, Rockstar is the masters of filling.
Oh yes.
worlds. Like the absolute
Yeah.
masters. I am so pumped now for GTA 6 and like the scale that game is going to be, because holy crap, I can't even imagine all the stuff that you're going to be able to do in that game just because it's Rockstar doing it.
Well,
So
you talk about finish. It's also random AF crap too. Like that
yeah,
they put in. Like it's so funny. Some of the stuff that they throw in there is just random, and it's like a meme on top of like a giant mountain that you had to scale, and it just makes you laugh when you get up there. And that's the only reason it's there. You know.
yeah. And like they obviously like they knew their audience so well. Like if you flip on the radio in that game, there's like that like radio announcer lady who just has these absolute roasts of
Yeah.
humanity going on. And like all the billboards are just ridiculous products, like
Yeah.
just super satire against like certain like industries and stuff. Just every step of the way, you're like, this was made by gamers for gamers, and I love
Yes.
that.
Yes, for sure.
So that's my first recommendation. But my other recommendation is Monsters and Mazes. Like, I'm really proud of where we got that thing to, and I
Heck
want
yeah.
people to jump into it because we want to make some fixes before we push it out to even more people. So jump in. I'm gonna be jumping in right after the stream, guys. We'll be jumping in there. So if you guys want to come hang out with Monsters and Mazes, that's where I'm headed. So go check out our new game. There's a public private invite in the Discord that I linked.
Public private. Yes.
It's a publicly private playtest. Pre-alpha, like basically.
Nice.
I don't even know what we call it. Pre-alpha? Is that what we landed on, or do we just say prototype?
Yeah, prototype, pre-alpha. I don't know.
That is fun though. We did the thing, Declan, where it's like that game. Have you seen Repo?
Yeah.
We like as a last minute thing, we added the heads going up and down like the repo guys when we talk. Added so much to the game. It was
Dude,
hilarious.
I've
It's
seen
so
so
fun.
many repo memes this week. I don't know what it was, like what popped off in my algorithm, but
You
I've
liked
seen so
one
much.
video. You liked
Yeah.
one video, and it was all down here from there.
Well, awesome. Well, again, thank you for jumping on. It's been fun. I think Garrett has a plan for an after stream.
I don't know if I'm streaming. I'm just jumping in.
Oh, he's playing Monsters and Mazes.
I'm just jumping in.
So you guys should jump in if you want to play with him. And then maybe next week we'll work on our post stream game. Garrett and I will find something fun to play around with, maybe for 30 to
jump
40
back into
minutes.
Marvel Rivals.
Yeah. He's got a new character to buy a skin for.
That's like Emma. What's her name? Emma Frost. Is that the one everyone's gooning over right now?
Yep.
We'll go check it out. Anyway, well, sweet guys. This has been Practically Reality Podcast. Thanks again, Cameron, for jumping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Hopefully that was fun. Nothing you said is gonna get you fired. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, I was gonna turn Garrett off halfway through and ask how he is as a boss, but I guess it's too late.
I already know I'm psycho. Like, we don't need any more confirmation of that. No.
Awesome.
But, yeah. This is the Practical Reality Podcast. If you don't catch us live, which we are live every week at 1 p.m. Pacific time, usually a couple minutes late, depending on whether or not my wife needs to print out 42 pages of something right now. It's great. But yeah, if you don't catch us live, you can always catch us on any of the Spotify, any of the networks where you get your music stuff. So any of the podcast networks, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever else.
Amazon.
I don't know. So yeah.
Yep. And YouTube now, I guess.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. We are a YouTube podcast now. I figured that out. Kind of.
Well, awesome, guys. Thank you. Have a good one.
Peace.